Hello, welcome to this video. Now today's question I'm going to be answering is how I got on Spotlight without an agent. Now this shouldn't be seen as the only way to make it as an actor, because me personally, I actually didn't get on Spotlight until about a year after graduating. So I really do think gaining experience in different projects, styles, genres, just experimenting is one of the best ways to grow and continue developing as an actor before you get to this step. Now, if you are at the stage of applying for Spotlight right now and you want to see the process or the things that I done whilst applying for Spotlight, then it might be worth skipping to this point in the video. Hopefully it helps. Now, I want to start off with a few pointers of things that I was doing when I was trying to get onto Spotlight. And me telling you these things now hopefully might help you to tackle it more efficiently and save you a bit of time. The first one is landing roles in smaller projects. Now, when I first started out, I was literally trying to get roles in everything I could, whether it being in theatre, short films, any types of films pretty much, any voiceover work, you name it. I was trying to get involved into anything I could, because for screen acting I pretty much learned everything on set, and it was a way for me to trial out different types of acting techniques and whether I thought it worked for screen or not. Don't get me wrong, when I was applying to a lot of the roles I didn't realise that they weren't giving out credits. Now looking back on it now, I probably could have worked a bit more efficiently towards trying to get on Spotlight and actually look for roles that were given credits. But for me, I wouldn't change being on any of these projects because I learned so much on set and it really helped me tackle whether I thought things worked on screen or not and whether they were truthful and believable. When I do look back, I do admit I think some of my performances are a bit cringy and a bit hard to watch, but without them I don't honestly think I would have got to where I am now. So I think being in a range of different productions and different types of roles have really helped me develop in my performances now, and overall actually given me some credits along the way, which was a massive bonus. Now the next one's about representation, and this is a little bit of a detour around Spotlight, but there are some agencies that actually accept you without getting Spotlight. And when I think back at my time whilst I was training, I never considered representation because I always thought this was a thing that you could only get when you were graduated and out of training and a professional, as they say. So I think that was partially to do with me not understanding the industry enough and not knowing enough, but this could be a good step if you're ready and you can get representation, because often they can get you on the books of Spotlight. Just remember that there's not a set way of making it as an actor, and there's strict kind of stepping stones you have to meet exactly down to the T to make it as an actor. Now, if you've actually already considered this whilst you're training or planning these as your next steps, then bravo, that's really good that you're already thinking ahead and being proactive. But if you haven't thought of it, don't worry, that's what these videos are for. And just remember, we're all at different stages and everyone's career is different. So don't stress. The next point is doing your research. Now this is very important when you're trying to get onto Spotlight because it will save you so much time, and hopefully by learning from my mistakes, you'll be able to get on there a lot quicker than I did. Now it's worth looking at what types of roles are actually accepted as an official credit. Whatever field you're going into, it's worth looking at the official breakdown of what they accept. Now, we'll put some of this up on the screen right now and also leave it in the description below so you can have a proper in-depth look. What's currently not accepted as an official credited role. Now, this normally is a non-speaking role in whatever type of production, but also they don't consider credits in music videos, corporate videos, essay work in the background, and other types of projects like this. If you're really trying to get on Spotlight and you don't want to waste your time, then it might be worth avoiding these types of projects for now, because they're not going to go towards your free official creditations. Now, if you are slightly familiar with Spotlight and you have seen fellow actors listed as a young performer on Spotlight, unfortunately, this doesn't apply to you, and I would forget about this step. Because basically, you can only be a young performer if you're represented? That doesn't make sense. If you're represented by an agent and they're also registered with Spotlight. And unfortunately, having your parent or guardian as your official rep doesn't count either. So I would say just forget about this bit. Even though Spotlight says that they don't accept student films, they do actually accept credited film schools. Now, I would say try get involved in some of their projects. And the way that I do this, if there isn't an official mailing list on their website, I would just say get in contact with them. So whatever they have listed on their website, whether it is actually their main email, just drop them a little email saying a little bit about you, what you're interested in, and they might forward you onto the right department. If you're lucky and the website is really detailed, you might actually find the specific emails for each department and drop them an email introducing yourself and saying how much you would love to be considered for the possible castings for these productions. Because most of film schools are making so many productions throughout the years, even though it's often shorts, the students are always producing something, and it's a great place to start when you're trying to get credits. I honestly think there's no harm in trying and sending them an email, because the worst thing that's going to happen is either they're going to say no or they're just not going to reply. So I will say send them an email and forget about it. That's what I always do when I'm sending cold emails. And if you do get the opportunity to be a part of a student project, think of it as an amazing way to experiment and explore different types of characters and your process, for example, because they're learning as well and they're creating productions all the time to try and better their craft, and I honestly think it's a perfect way to try and do the same for you. And also, you're meeting creators that are going to be the future of our industry, so it's an amazing way to network with the future. It's an amazing way to network with the students and also make some contacts, because I've even had it for some of the projects I've done in the past. I'm now in contact with them now and they're on bigger and better things, and it's just nice to see people grow in their career as well. So yeah, don't knock student films because it's a great way to start. The next one is double check your current credits and experience. Now, if you already have some credits or training under your belt or currently training, if you haven't already, see if they actually qualify for an official credit, because more often than not, most of the drama schools and film schools are already accepted as one of the official credits for getting on Spotlight. Unfortunately for me, this part didn't apply because I trained at a university and it wasn't seen as one of the official credited schools. But if you are in one of these schools, it's a massive tick box and you're already one step closer to getting on Spotlight. Now, if you are starting from scratch and you didn't come from a university or a drama school and you're looking into training right now, I would say see what courses are accepted as a credit, whether that be a full-time course, a short-time course or a part-time one. Now, there are so many of these courses scattered all around the UK that are official credited Spotlight courses. So have a look at those ones, and I'll also leave a link down below where you can find a full list of it as well. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for, the main thing that got me credits and how I got onto Spotlight without an agent was looking for casting calls that specifically said that they'll give you an IMDb credit. Now, I will say most of these credits, they were either unpaid or only covered travel expenses, or I actually filmed them from the comfort of my home. But if they were in certain areas, I did try and make sure that they were still local for me to get to, so I didn't spend too much on my expenses if the role wasn't covered, because I didn't really have a lot of money to spend on the travel expenses and not get it back. So this was a key thing for me. And where I found these casting calls were mainly on Star Now. Now, I'm still subscribed to Star Now and I actually really recommend it. I think it's a great platform. And I do still see these types of casting calls that will offer IMDb credits as well. But other platforms you can find these such casting calls are Backstage, you've got Mandy, and if I think of any others else, I'll pop them up on the screen now. But Star Now was the place I got my official credits for IMDb and the projects. Okay, so before you judge me, just hear me out. Now, I know this sounds a little bit backwards and it's a bit of twisted morals because you're only accepting a role for an IMDb credit, but I genuinely only try to accept the roles that I thought would be fun or be a great experience to be a part of. As much as I wanted to say yes to the ones that were either paid roles or I can get more credits in a short period of time, I just had that feeling at the bottom of my stomach. I was like, I don't really want to be a part of it. And if you do have that feeling, I personally don't think it's right to accept it. But But try not to judge people who have done this, because for me, for example, I was at such an early stage of my career and I really had no idea about the industry. And also I didn't consider of myself in the future looking back on these roles and whether I'd be proud of them or not. Thankfully, I was a part of projects that I did enjoy, but try and consider this if you're thinking of taking this route. When I look back on myself at this stage, it just makes me realise of how desperate I actually was to get on Spotlight. Because in my eyes, I thought once you get on Spotlight, then you're going to land an agent straight away. And then you're going to get all these big, amazing auditions, and then you're going to be, I don't know, straight into Hollywood, as you can say. But it just makes me realise of how uneducated I was about the industry and how lack of guidance I had. I didn't have a mentor or someone who I personally knew who knew about the industry. You know, I just wanted to be transparent and genuinely tell you of how I got most of my official credited roles to be on Spotlight, as far as I know. But the thing that genuinely changed my whole mindset and my approach to taking roles and looking at the industry in a different way, because I watched this video on YouTube of Denzel Washington on all of his amazing quotes, and one of them really did hit home for me. I'll play a little bit now for you.
Compromise yourself. You know, if there's something you don't feel good about, then don't do it. The most important choices I've made was to say no.
This speech literally blew my mind and changed my whole outlook on accepting roles. I'll leave the link down below so you can watch the full video, because I really do recommend it, and I hope you can just take into consider his experience and his knowledge, and just to keep it in mind when you're looking at what types of roles you want to accept. So try and consider if the role is genuinely right for you and something that you're passionate or loving to be a part of. But again, it's completely up to you and you do what's right for you. And as I already said, I just wanted to be 100% honest with you and not tiptoe around how I actually done it and try to pretend that it was so easy and I done it this special way and say exactly how I got some of my official credits. Just don't come for me, okay? I just want to be honest. Now, this is the part of the video if you're ready to apply for Spotlight and you want to know how I exactly applied to Spotlight. So when it came time to apply, instead of just inputting the 3 official credited roles I had, Christian actually gave me the advice of why don't you just list all your credits right now, because it will save you time in the long run, because if I do get accepted, then my profile will have all of my credits. And to be fair, it's one of those things that like, why not? It doesn't hurt to list them all. So this might sound a little bit random, but I didn't consider this until the year later. So I applied in January because I thought, you know, new year, new start, I'll get on Spotlight and it'll be the best start to the year. But when it came to the next year, I didn't actually prep for the money to be taken out. So when that bill came out in January, I was a bit like, oh, it's a lot of money, because I don't know if you're like me, but January is quite a tight month. So once I learned that from the first year, I do plan it now to make sure I have money for it. But I do think it's something to consider whenever that payment comes out each year, if you're doing it yearly, just try and plan for it. Or if you do it monthly, it's just like a bill and hopefully it's a bit easier for you. But I do it, but my payments are annually because I personally find it a bit easier. But when it's in January, just try and plan for that money to come out. So once I was accepted, I did have every single one of my credits and training listed on my Spotlight. But through the years now, I've been on Spotlight, I think for about 5-6 years, I think. I'm not quite sure. Since I graduated, I guess. Jeez, that feels like a long time ago. But anyway, I pretty much listed all of my credits for a very long time on my Spotlight. But I have changed this format throughout the years due to different agents' recommendations or casting directors or fellow actors that I've seen their Spotlight and liked certain things. And I've adapted and changed this through the years. So if you are interested in what I've done and what I personally think works better for your Spotlight or not, if you have it, and hopefully you will be accepted soon, then just let me know in the comments and I'll be more than happy to make a video on what I think works for a good Spotlight. So if you don't actually spend a lot of time in the UK, or if you're based in another country, or even if you're someone based from the UK and trying to break into other markets in other countries, then Spotlight I don't personally think is the only thing to be on. For example, if you're trying to break into the American market, the main thing that they look at is your IMDb page. Now, most of the performers or creative people on that platform have a pro account, so they can display their main headshots and you can pretty much list all your credits just like Spotlight, but also the companies themselves will credit you from their productions. And there are so many more other platforms which, again, I'm happy to go into some more if you're interested. But it just depends on where you are and what you're trying to get onto. But if you're like me and you're based in the UK and you're trying to get on Spotlight, I really do hope that some of these pointers will help you on your way to getting onto Spotlight. Now, they're all my main points of how I got onto Spotlight a little bit quicker or easier, whatever you think, but they're some of the things that helped me personally got on Spotlight without an agent. But I do want to give you guys some more information and just some words of advice of what I think now. I do want to reassure you that for a lot of performers, it does take quite a long time to get on Spotlight, and it doesn't seem so easy to get on. You know, of course, I'm so grateful to have got onto Spotlight so quickly after graduating, but I know so many people that still aren't on Spotlight, but are still getting so many amazing roles and being a part of fantastic productions that they probably wouldn't have got on Spotlight anyway. But for me, I see Spotlight as an amazing opportunity to see casting calls that I would have never had the opportunity to see before. But like I've said in previous videos, I didn't start off knowing people in the industry, and it's a great platform to have the opportunity to apply. Just try not to be disheartened, and I know it's quite hard when you start seeing other actors or people that you may have trained with getting on Spotlight before you, and it all depends on your experience, your qualifications, and you know, we don't know what they're thinking when they accept us, and you can't take it personally. And even I still try and remember to this day that everyone's career is different. It doesn't matter what goal you're trying to get. You're always going to see someone essentially achieving it before you, or you feel that they're already excelling so much more than you are, and you're putting your heart and soul into it. But really do try and remember that everyone's career is different. We're all going to get there at different stages, and there honestly isn't one way to get there. You know, and you can still get roles without Spotlight. It's not the be all and end all of acting jobs. You know, as I said, you can get roles on Star Now, Mandy, Backstage, even from just networking and talking to productions and companies and seeing what opportunities they have for you. Because I can honestly say probably about 80-90% of my jobs I've either got myself through those types of networking and those platforms. If you do get the opportunity to be on Spotlight, it doesn't just stop there. You know, like they say, once you get an agent, you can't just think, oh, that's it, I'm going to sit back and they're going to get everything for me. No, you still need to be productive and make use of your time and do things for yourself. And especially if you're getting on Spotlight without representation like I was when I started, you have to apply yourself personally to all of these roles. And this was pretty intimidating for me because I didn't want to mess up in the bio information bit and sound, you know, just unexperienced or not writing the right thing. So make sure you take the time to write down a proper brief and an introduction for each role you're applying for. Make sure it's specific and just take the time to make sure it's the most professional it can be. So make the most of the resources that they offer. You know, they offer one-to-ones with casting directors, agents, writers, directors, you name it. There's so much they offer, whether it's in their newsletter that they send out to give you the heads up. They have webinars, seminars. They have so much guidance and information to help you in your career. So even if you're not landing any roles, make the use of this. Oh, and especially in their contacts list. That's where you can find like which agencies have their books open. This was really helpful for me when I was applying for agents once I was on Spotlight. But that's it. That's the end of the video and all my pointers for today on how to get on Spotlight without an agent. And if you have enjoyed this video and some of the information has helped you, please let me know in the comments below because I'd love to hear it because it would make my day. And if you like this channel, please make sure you like this video because it really does help, and subscribe to see more of these types of ones because I've got lots of videos planned for the future. So yeah, stay tuned and I hope you have a lovely day wherever you are. Take care. pointer for... Why can't I talk, man? Okay, and you've already planned ahead and my biggest top tip on finding, excuse me, well, now a huge thing that I think about, because unfortunately they were only, really itchy nose. Oh, not too far near you, that doesn't make sense. The future, that doesn't make sense. Different things in your craft. They don't make sense. It's an amazing way. And this is Gemma's Gems. Ta-da! I can't get my words out. Bye. I hate the outros. They're so awkward.